concept of telling time on the wrist is a young idea. As far back as 3500 before Common Era, in ancient civilization, Egypt and China had sundials that were used to interpret time through the means of what technology they had. Necessity leads to innovation, and advancing through history, pocket watches became strapped to wrists in 1914, as soldiers often required a convenient, often life-dependent time-telling device in the First Major War. The fad caught on in 1916 when the New York Times released an article popularizing bracelet watches. Then civilians copied the look of soldiers on the battlefield, and wristwatches took off from there. And that brings us on to the subject of today's video, 3 watches that redefine time telling in innovative ways, and one of which is a GPHG award winner in 2021. Let's check them out. The Ciga Design Blue Planet took home the 2021 GPHG Challenge Award. And if you can liken the GPHG to the Golden Globes of watches, the Challenge Award is for watches under 3,500 Swiss francs. And you can imagine how competitive that category is for this watch to win out. The watch itself and the dial is a reminder that our precious blue planet is under the threat of rising sea levels due to the change in climate. Over the next 78 years, it's to be expected that the sea level will rise 6 meters. The symbolism continues as we are essentially wearing the planet on our wrist, on a time-telling device that reminds us how little time we have to truly enjoy what we currently have. How would one expect a perfect circle to wear on the wrist? We're not talking about a pie plate, we're talking about a sculpted piece of titanium or steel that's shaped and rounded off on the edges, allowing the 46mm case to fit nicely to the wrist. You can see on my wrist there is no gaps between the strap and my wrist. The design is meant to simulate the Earth's rotation, with the innermost rotating plate indicating the minutes and the outer rotating plate indicating the hours. Using the compass that's on the dial, you're able to read the time. Traditionally, for every 30-degree rotation of the hour hand, the minute hand will rotate 360 degrees. But to get the intended rotation or simulation of the Earth, Ciga Design has gone to the lengths of changing the gear ratio of the movement to allow for every 30-degree hour hand rotation to rotate the minute hand by 390 degrees. In this way, both the hour and minute hands will rotate synchronously, allowing for the simulation of the Earth's rotation. You will see this in action as I pull up the crown to the final position, and for every rotation of the crown, I'm moving the minutes by 390 degrees and the Earth by 30 degrees. Finally, to read the time, where the navigation point right now, it indicates 8 p.m. This is a very novel design. The 22mm strap that comes with this watch is a fluorine rubber strap. It feels like an Apple rubber strap, very high quality, but there is a certain weight and solidity to it. I've worn this watch for about a wrist, and I normally don't receive compliments on any of the watches I wear, but this has caught some eyes and sparked some conversations. The 1858 collection from Montblanc is a love letter, a tribute to its origin story, where Charles Yvon and Hippolyte Robert both began doing business in Villeret, Switzerland, which is the home and birthplace of Montblanc. The 1858 Geosphere takes time telling to the next level. Think about having the ability to tell the time at any point in the world using 2 globes that spin counterclockwise and clockwise one another. Both northern and southern hemispheres are represented in these globes and can be set by rotating the crown. By looking closer at the globes, there are 24 longitudinal lines that indicate different time zones. Using the black line, that is your reference for local time. And having set that black line to your local time, knowing some geography, you can tell the time in any particular place or point of interest. Rotating the watch on its side, you are greeted by an indentation that is a small button you can push with a pen or pencil, and that will allow you to adjust the subdial that will track a secondary time zone. How cool is that? Speaking of cool, the case back is exactly that. The engraving is symbolizing the flaming cliffs of the Gobi Desert, with the Mongolian windrows at the very bottom. This is a tribute to Reinhold Messner's 5-week solo journey across the Gobi Desert. He is a madman. I think the watch is all in all a compelling, cool case you will not see every day. And how unique is it to be able to tell time, with good eyes that is, multiple time zones, and any point in any place in the world, through the use of 2 globes that also simulate the highest peaks of Earth. The single-hand watch is one of very few watches that reference time in a relaxing way. What I mean by that is, imagine only having one hand to do the job of 3. It's quite simple really. You can break down the dial into 5-minute increments or even 15-minute increments, and the hash marks or indexes in between can be used to reference the approximate minutes. Meistersinger were the pioneers for the single-hand watch. However, Montblanc, the 24-hour I have here, takes it in a different approach. The areas in between the hours are not 5-minute increments. In this case, it is just over 3:15. However, taking a look at the dial closer to give you a better view, looking at the single hand, you see 6, just under 6:15. So you will never know exactly the per minute. It is a relaxed way of telling time for sure. That might irritate some who are keen on accuracy, but I think that's not the point of this watch. To give you an indication of time, and also to provide you with a compass on the outside to get your bearings straight, let's say if you're hiking or on a mountain, is really the point of this watch. It's a novel concept used by Meistersinger and Montblanc to tell the time. Speaking of which, the dial is fully loomed. Even the numerals are, and when I put my lume torch to it, the red hand glows orange. I think that's rather cool. This was a fun video to make. I've never encountered watches that will redefine time telling in this manner. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you liked the video, please consider subscribing and following along for more watch content.